So you heard this group talk about the resources that they leveraged to help them get to where they are today. Supporting entrepreneurs with the right resources at the right time is a critical element for a successful startup ecosystem. In our next panel, we're going to hear from some of our entrepreneurial assistance providers in the state. This isn't a complete group by any means, but this is some of the key partners for 3 Steps to Startup, and they'll share information about the type of help they can offer and how they connect with each other, because those connections can be the most valuable thing, as you heard from this group. Joining us to moderate is Deborah Martin. She is the State Director of the West Virginia Small Business Development Center, a network of business coaches located throughout the state to assist small businesses at all stages of development, from startup to growth. Deborah joined the West Virginia Small Business Development Center as Deputy Director in 2013 and was most recently serving as Interim Director. She has more than 20 years' experience in economic development. Before joining the SBDC, she spent 15 years helping businesses export their products with the West Virginia Development Office International Division. Deborah led state business executives on more than 30 trade missions to countries in Europe, Asia, Africa, and North and South America. She earned the title of Certified Global Business Professional from the National Association of Small Business International Trade Educators and the Historic Real Estate Finance Professional from the National Development Council. Deborah currently serves on America's SBDC Professional Development and Conference Committee, America's SBDC Accreditation Committee, the Scholarship Committee of the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation, and she serves on the board of directors of the Preservation Alliance of West Virginia. And I just want to give her a great big shout out for doing such a great job with the SBDC and working with all of us. So Deborah, thank you for your service and for joining us today. We'll turn it over to you for this great conversation.
Thanks, Anne. I'm delighted to join you as moderator for this panel today to talk about the valuable resources offered by each of the organizations represented here to help innovative startups move their concept forward to commercialization. You've heard several of them referred to already. If you were here for the last panel, the previous panel discussion with some of the successful entrepreneurs and their discussions about how they've achieved success. I'm particularly proud to say that the West Virginia Small Business Development Center has partnered at some point along the way with each of these entities to amplify and expand the services of our organization. The West Virginia Small Business Development Center, as Anne said, integrates small business initiatives into the state's overall economic development efforts, and we perform these functions through one-on-one business coaching, training, and other technical assistance provided directly by a network of business coaches around the state and through effective partnership collaborations like the ones represented here. SBDC operates an innovation and technology commercialization program called InTech that provides business coaching and technical assistance to West Virginia-based pre-venture and small businesses in which innovation serves as a catalyst for economic impact via technology-based products, services, and improved processes. I encourage any entrepreneur listening today to work with Deborah Magyar, who is the director of that program. She also coordinates the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Investment Fund, which is the state program that provides matching funds for SBIR and STTR awards. So I'll introduce each of the speakers with us today, and they will give a short 5-minute overview of their programs, and then we'll be happy to take questions at the end if time allows. Bruce Mutter will be our first speaker. He's the founding director and CEO of CART, the Center for Applied Research and Technology in Bluefield, West Virginia. CART teams have developed numerous applied research and a wide range of product development and prototyping projects over the past 23 years. Some recent intellectual properties and product developments involve fiber optic sensing and remote source lighting, RFID monitoring systems, consumer and industrial electronics, Internet of Things control systems, and coal-derived building materials. CART works to transfer these and other products and services to the marketplace and works with TechConnect West Virginia to provide direct technical assistance to startup and existing small businesses. Next, we'll have Derek Scarborough, who is the Business Development Director of Marshall University's Robert C. Byrd Institute for Advanced Manufacturing, or RCBI. In this role, he manages state and federal grants that they've been awarded and works directly with manufacturers, colleges, and government agencies on economic and workforce development projects across the state and region. Our CBI assists entrepreneurs, inventors, small businesses, and large corporations across all sectors with prototype development, customized training, reverse engineering, quality assurance, and contracting opportunities. Todd Crum, since the inception of the 3 Steps to Startup program over a year ago, Todd has served as the program's commercialization manager, supporting small businesses in their efforts to secure and leverage funding. To date, program participants have procured more than $9 million in funding from various sources. Todd he also works with the Small Business Development Center as a business coach. And in this capacity, he works with small businesses to achieve success and avoid obstacles through teamwork, listening, and communicating with them about their goals. He focuses on his work on Monongalia, Marion, and Harrison County, but is also available to assist clients statewide. Todd's primary responsibility is to provide assistance to prospective borrowers as they develop business plans and seek funding. Next, we'll have Dr. Arian Olesh, who is the director of Startup West Virginia, a program of the John Chambers College of Business and Economics at WVU. In this role, she is focused on building up resources and support around SBIR and STTR grants and increasing the pipeline of emerging technologies from the university. In addition, she's the state director for the National Science Foundation I-Corps program and is the state lead on the National Institutes of Health Accelerate Health STTR grant. She's been an active advisory board member for the West Virginia CTSI since 2018 and sits on the board of Bio West Virginia. And then finally, we'll have Tricia Ball, who is the acting director and interim associate director of the Marshall University Brad D. Smith Business Incubator, as well as the associate director of the Lewis College of Business Center for Entrepreneurship and Business Innovation, which is known as the I-Center. The Brad D. Smith Business Incubator is a mixed-use incubator that supports early-stage businesses by helping them grow and scale by providing mentoring, networking, office space, and technical assistance in areas like marketing and accounting. The I-Center's mission is to inspire innovation and entrepreneurship on campus and beyond using design on campus and beyond, using design for delight, which is Intuit's approach to design thinking. So let's kick it off with Bruce Mutter. Bruce?
All right. Thank you, Deborah. Good morning. Hope you can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Very good. So it's really great to be with you today. It's actually inspiring. I've been listening this morning, and it's motivating. CART is a small product development company in Bluefield, West Virginia. We have shops located at the commercialization station in Bluefield, and our offices, we're moving into the Small Business Success Center, the Intuit-led effort with the city of Bluefield, which we're really excited about. So if you look at our company, you think about applied research. Well, for us, it's what Coach Huggins might say, respect the game, to go out there and find out, work from the problem backwards. And we've heard from several speakers this morning. It's a long road to develop a new product, and we like to think that we're that technical assistance provider that can help you get through that deep valley, right? We talk about it all the time between the idea, the initial idea, maybe all the way to that pilot line. And so along the way, we heard from Brad and Michael earlier. It's tough out there, and so if I had one point to make this morning, we're that group that hopefully provides what I would say. It all starts with a drawing. If we can make a drawing, we can eventually conquer it. And today that means whether it's an architectural drawing for coal-derived building materials or a mechanical drawing, or in the case of Picado, it could be a printed circuit board design in EagleCAD. But if you can imagine it and then you can characterize it in the drawing, you can communicate, and that's what's important. So and these drawings are not the flat drawings from a generation ago. They become models, and the model becomes an animation that can help us describe and answer that all important question. So what are you really talking about here? And so shout out to Brad and and to Michael for enduring that long process between idea and seeing it through. And if they, as Michelle said earlier, we invest in people, right? So they are investable. They are tough guys. They've been at this a long time, and I'm really proud that they're seeing this through. Also, the drawing develops machine code, and for example, we want to be better and better collaborators in the state of West Virginia. As Deborah said, it's all about working together, and whenever you touch that system, however you enter it, there's a group of great people here to help you. They want to help you, and I'm very proud to be a small part of that team. You'll hear from Derek in a moment about digital manufacturing. If you have the machine code that we just mentioned, you can then inform the digital manufacturing machines that we have today, like CNC mills and plasma cutters and water jetting and all of those great tools that entrepreneurs have today. That drawing also leads to design and utility patenting support to protect your idea, to make sure that it belongs to you. And lately, like with the XMAP project, the coal-derived building materials project, we're doing some techno-economic analysis. And so in Scott Ewing's presentation earlier, we were talking about what are the cost drivers? Do you know your costs? And with these tools that we have available today, we can characterize the investment, characterize what it takes to build it and bring your product to market and have those all important sales. And so I just want to say we're here to help. We're here to provide technical assistance wherever we might fit in, and please contact us if you think we would be a good fit for your project. So thank you, and all the best to your business.
Thanks, Bruce. And that was a great segue into our next speaker, Derek Scarborough. Derek, would you like to tell us about RCBI and the services that you're offering?
Thanks, Deb. Thanks, Bruce, for the pass off. For those of you not familiar with RCBI, we're part of Marshall's Research Corporation, and we do support faculty research projects. But about 95% of what we do is to support industry and entrepreneurs with product development, training, prototyping, small batch manufacturing. So we like to work with people from the napkin stage to the Fortune 500 company launching a new product. We kind of like to break down a new product development and think about it in a phased approach. We like to help you come up with the proof of concept, a proof of function, making a fully functioning prototype, and think about your proof of value and how you're going to commercialize that. And everything we do, we want to keep focused on that end step of how you're going to manufacture this affordably, efficiently, effectively, and help you source local suppliers, hopefully. We have facility in Huntington, South Charleston, and Bridgeport with engineering staff that's available. We've got a lot of equipment, CNC, wide range of 3D printing, laser cutters, water jets. And more recently, we've added some new technology, some large vacuum forming. So we can do, I like to show props. We can do vacuum forms. I'm gonna have to turn off my, you can see this car.
Yep.
And we have added injection molding recently also. So we're very excited about ramping that up to provide people with affordable solutions to mass produce a plastic product. So let me show you a few more examples of some recent work we've done, just to kind of give you an idea of how we help people. We've been doing a lot of medical device work recently. So had a physician come to us with an idea for a new type of, can't share all the details, but a new to monitor inputs from the body. So we helped them design this housing that will fit
Yeah, in front of your face, I think
roads
is
and
how
whatnot.
best way to see it.
Yeah, I'm going to turn off my virtual background.
There we go.
So take that and then use that 3D printed mold to make a medical grade silicone housing that has the wires and circuitry in it to pull off the data from body and feed it into a software program we're helping them develop. So that's using resin printing to do a silicone mold to integrate electronics and whatnot. Some other fun things we've got to do recently, company called Hellbender Lures. We're helping them design fishing lures that we then make 3D printed positives of, and then we can then turn that into, put it on a vacuum form and make molds that they can use to pour their fishing lures. This is hellbenderlures.com. Go check them out. I think they've sold all their inventory, but there'll be a new batch soon. It's fun stuff. And this is made out of a high temp resin that can resist the heat of the material that's being poured. So something else to show you. Another fun thing right before lunch. If you haven't heard of Dippy Doo, it's a product of the Shape Shop in Charleston, Millie Snyder's company. They had the opportunity to expand the number of Kroger stores they sold their ice cream like product to. So we helped them make some molds so that they could increase their production. So we made printed
Cool.
that we then use to dip into a food grade silicone mold that they can then fill up with their product and put it in the flash freezers. That's a fun one to work on for sure. And it can be really simple things too. This simple little device, a vending machine company asked us to make a part that fails often stronger. So using normal 3D printing techniques, however, thanks to some new innovations with carbon fiber technology that we have, we can embed a few threads of carbon fiber into this, make it really strong, may cost them slightly more to produce, but it's going to have much, much less maintenance costs. So that's kind of the approach we take to bringing products, and we enjoy it all. And
It's always helpful to see the actual product so that we can better understand what it is that the kind of service that you offer.
Sure.
So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Next, we have Todd Crump, who personifies the types of collaboration that we've been talking about today. Todd, would you like to tell us about your role as the commercialization manager for this Three Steps to Startup program?
Sure, glad to do that, Deborah. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So what a nice time to follow Derek with show and tell. And he had all those nice props. Now I have no props for you, but I want to follow up and just give you an idea of what he did and how that relates to Three Steps. You see, quite often, as Brad Smith mentioned yesterday, sometimes we fall in love with a problem that we want to solve, and then we need to find the opportunities and what are the means in order to take that problem, create a solution that is that it can be marketed, and then of course commercialize. So that's where 3 steps comes into play. So the 3 steps that are involved is first, education. So similar to what we're doing here for the last couple of days, right? Having a venture fair, having the opportunity to learn from other entrepreneurs. We saw research specialists, for instance, like this morning with Scott, getting an opportunity to see what is in the mind of the investor. So first, getting that education and getting ramped up so that when we're ready to make a pitch, like several of our entrepreneurs were able to do today, we're able to make such a pitch that will be successful and be reasonable. So that entails venture fairs, assisting with social media presence, and also networking among industry partners. So the second step is the one where really most often I come into play, which is commercialization. So when we think commercialization, quite often we think monetizing, but it really is a lot more involved. It really we want to talk about concept validation. So looking at what you presented, and if it's a mousetrap, if it's a better mousetrap, well, how can we prove that? And that's one of the things that we would engage in, as well as looking at a market assessment, your business structure. So really soup to nuts, as it were, taking your product, your idea, and actually making a business model out of it, which is something that we've talked quite a bit about this morning. And the final stage is investment. And so that's where, after all of those other 2 stages have been engaged, our education, we looked at commercialization. Now we're looking at the opportunity to potentially grow your product or bring it to market and get long-term funding. So the 3 steps are really the 3 partners that are engaged in that are Tech Connect, Innova, and West Virginia JIT, or Jobs Investment Trust. So what are some of the benefits? Well, in addition to the venture fair like we're engaging in today, you have the opportunity, and we'll stick with the number 3. So we'll talk about just 3 major benefits. The first is that you can connect with contacts that are highly active and collaborate with other resource partners within the economic ecosystem. So as you've seen, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you may notice that a lot of the folks here are connected. We are aware of each other. We communicate regularly. So you're tapping into that resource. One of the second benefits is that you get advice and coaching to enhance your product, to get it to a stage where you can commercialize it. And that's something that's very important. I think something that we may want to take away from what Scott mentioned this morning is when you're presenting to an investor, there really is a limited time and window where you want to make your best first impression. Well, sometimes you may need some coaching or some assistance to get to that level. And so connecting with 3 steps is an opportunity in which you can sharpen your skills along those lines and be ready to present. And then finally, that third point that I wanted to mention, the other benefit, is tapping into potential funding support. So whether it's technical assistance when it comes to some of these areas to ramp up your presentation, or actually early stage funding, which is something that is quite hard to come by, that's something that you can gain through the 3 steps process. So important to take advantage of that. And you might be wondering, well, what do I do next? Oh, who do I reach out to? Well, the website has been put in the chat, and we encourage you to go to the website. It's the number 3, the word steps, the number 2, then the word startup.com, 3 steps to startup.com. Take advantage of that, at least communicate. And even if you think, well, I have an idea, I'm not sure if I'm ready yet, well, there's no harm in having dialogue, and then we'll be happy to assist you with that. So we said a lot about 3 steps so far, but that's basically what I wanted to highlight this morning. So thanks again, Deborah. I appreciate it.
Great. Thanks, Todd. And Todd referred to getting early stage funding. There are a number of avenues to find early stage funding, which we have heard some of our entrepreneurs refer to earlier today. Dr. Olesh is going to tell us about another one of those avenues for early stage funding, if you would.
Hi, Deborah, and thanks so much for having me on. This has been an absolutely, I think, wonderful event, wonderful conference. So thanks to all who have put the effort and resources into putting this on. So I'm going to talk about kind of three different hats that I wear, as I know most of us on here, if not all of us, wear several different hats in our job. So I'm one of the directors with Startup West Virginia, and what our purpose and our role is really to help feed the pipeline of new emerging technologies and innovators in West Virginia. And then the way I think of it is also to act as a bit of a security blanket or make sure there are no leaks from that pipeline. So whatever we can do to provide resources, fill in the gaps, make sure that once an entrepreneur, an innovator, a technology enters our pipeline, that they are moving through easily, and we're helping them navigate any barriers, any hurdles, making sure that as they exit one pool of resources, that they move on to another appropriate pool of resources. I know in the last session, we heard from some of our great entrepreneurs, like Zach Wright, the Iconic Air guys. So they're great examples of, making use of resources early stage, like the Launch Lab, who does fantastic work with young entrepreneurs. And then we're here to help make sure that they then, like I mentioned, move on to another resource, another set of tools and experts that they can get help from. So anything we can do there, like I said, just to kind of fill in the gaps, make sure that people are moving through easily. Anything we can do to also help identify new inventors, people who want to get engaged in entrepreneurial activity and work in West Virginia, making sure that we can get them a good starting point and on the track to success. And so I'll use that moment to kind of bridge into one of the other hats that I wear, which is running the state's National Science Foundation I-Corps program. And if you aren't familiar with I-Corps, and you're on this call, I would strongly recommend that you look into this program. It's really a fantastic opportunity, especially if you want to do a little bit more research and thinking into your product. And specifically, does your product have a customer? And that's really at the core what I-Corps will teach you and help train you how to do. It's all about customer discovery, getting out there, talking to potential customers, and really figuring out what is their problem, or as the I-Corps teachers you'll hear them say regularly, what is their hair on fire problem, and what is the bucket of water that you're providing them to put out that fire with. And so that's really the crux of it. Like I said, it's a great program, especially maybe if you're new to entrepreneurship, or again, you're testing out a new idea, new technology, and you just want to learn more about it, figure out, how it's going to fit into the marketplace. It's a fantastic resource. Right now, we're offering that course 3 times a year. So we just finished up our spring cohort, which was absolutely fantastic. We had a great set of teams go through that. We'll run another program in the summer and then another one in the fall as well. And right now they're being done completely virtually. So they're open to anyone in the state. The regional course, you don't have to have a university affiliation. So anybody in the community is welcome to participate. Once you finish the regional course, you can, if you're selected, you can go on to the national program. There's some additional requirements there, though, in terms of being partnered with an academic institution and the type of technology you have to go onto the national program. But for the regional program, again, it's just a great experience if you want to just dig into your product a little bit further. And then the last resource that I'll mention is what's called the NIGMS Accelerate Health Grant. That is through the National Institutes of Health. West Virginia is an IDEA state, which means it is an underfunded state through the National Institutes of Health. And so several years ago, West Virginia, along with 23 other institutions across the Southeast, applied for this STTR. And so we're partnered with a small business out of Kentucky called Accelerate Health. They are a group focused on helping healthcare and life science companies, startup companies, do everything from navigating SBIRs, STTRs, to getting funding, to preparing pitch decks. And so there's a great pool of resources that we've developed through there. Through that grant, we have about 200 subject matter experts that cover everything from folks who have worked in executive positions at pharmaceutical companies, at hospitals, at insurers and payers, investors. And so if you need some help, advice, if you want to get connected to some folks in that area that are experts in those fields, please feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, it's a great resource. And then again, in my role with Startup West Virginia, I mentioned SBRs, STTRs. That's also a lot of the work that I do, is just supporting our entrepreneurs and our innovators. I know those grants can be overwhelming. They're slightly different than other grant funding mechanisms for our researchers. So anything we can do to help provide resources. We have a webinar that we put on once a month where we invite different program representatives, program managers from different federal agencies to talk about their SBIR, STTR programs. And those have been a great resource and tool to get connected better into those resources.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
And finally, another resource that is often an important support for entrepreneurs, and we've heard reference to how that can work with some of our examples today, are incubators. And Tricia Ball is going to tell us about the one that she runs at Marshall.
Yes, thank you. And thank you everybody for such a great event and for including me on this panel. And I know I'm what stands between you and lunch, so I'll be as brief as possible. As Arian mentioned, we all wear multiple hats. So I serve as both the Associate Director for the Center for Entrepreneurship and Business Innovation, or the iCenter, and also the Interim Associate Director at the Brad D. Smith Business Incubator. So I just wanted to briefly touch on both of those organizations today and how we can help you. So in its most simple form, for those of you who have been able to attend all of the sessions both yesterday and today, the things that Brad was saying that you needed yesterday, that's kind of where the iCenter comes into play and can help. And then the things this morning that Scott was talking about in terms of, getting ready for investment, that's more where the incubator can help. So to break that down in a little bit more detail, the iCenter is part of the Lewis College of Business and the Brad D. Smith Schools of Business. And our mission is to inspire innovation and entrepreneurship using Design for Delight, which is Intuit's approach to design thinking, which Brad mentioned yesterday. It's a really customer-driven process for solving difficult problems. And it's one of the common threads between all of the disruptive companies in Silicon Valley today, like Intuit, Amazon, Google, Apple, and Uber. So we offer group design thinking workshops to teach people how to do it on their own. And then we also facilitate design thinking projects for entrepreneurs and businesses and organizations who are in need of corporate innovation. And then we also do some one-on-one coaching sessions with entrepreneurs who have new ideas to help them achieve problem solution fit. I know Bruce had mentioned earlier that they kind of start with the drawing. At the iCenter, we kind of start with the problem. So we really want to help people innovate and test their solutions based on customer feedback, and then move on to those other important steps like the product development and investment. So as Brad mentioned yesterday, it's all about falling in love with the problem and not the solution. That said, we're still happy to work with anyone. If you already have an idea, we just really encourage you to be flexible with it and willing to iterate, just like all the entrepreneurs were mentioning earlier. Just they change things day by day as they go and learn more from their customers. We also have 2 entrepreneurs in residence who are available to provide some more targeted subject matter expertise in the fields of social entrepreneurship and tech. So Brandon Dennison, the founder and CEO of Coalfield Development Corporation, is one of those, and Colin Meadows is the founding member of Tech 304. So if you have an idea for a social enterprise or an idea for an app or software or some other tech product, you can book free coaching hours with one of them through our website. And just a quick shameless plug, we have 2 webinars coming up with the 2 of them this week. So Brandon's doing an introduction to social entrepreneurship tomorrow at 1 p.m. And Colin is doing an app in an hour workshop on virtual prototyping on Friday at 1:30. So if anyone's interested in those, I can drop the link for those in the chat when I wrap up. So while the iCenter is more focused on design thinking, education, and ideation, the Brad D. Smith Business Incubator focuses more on entrepreneurs who are ready to launch or who already have launched and need help growing and scaling. The incubator is located in downtown Huntington on the 1st floor of Marshall's Visual Arts Center. We're a mixed-use incubator, meaning we support entrepreneurs from all industries. And as I said earlier, a lot of the things that Scott was talking about this morning, we're able to help you with those. So we offer low-cost workspaces with a shared conference room, shared kitchenette, internet and phone are included, all utilities are included, printing and scanning. So our main goal there is that you have that physical address and the location, but you can keep your operating expenses low so you can really focus on growing your business. In addition to this space, we also offer business coaching. In the last session, the entrepreneurs recommended using a business model canvas, and that is the methodology or the tool, if you will, that I use with our clients in the incubator to guide next steps in their business. We also offer networking and technical assistance in areas like marketing, sales, and accounting. And we have direct line to the faculty from Marshall University for any of our clients who need sales, marketing, intellectual property, legal advice. And we also have a graphic design intern and We have one of Deb's offices, the Huntington SBDC office is located right here in the incubator. So that's a great tie of all of the resources, and we can really, RCBI, where Derek is across the street. So a great little ecosystem downtown to refer everyone to and just set you up with what you need. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I see that Anne is back, and I'm sure she's conscious of the time, but I would like to see if we have any burning questions that need to be answered before we leave.
Yeah, we have one question here. Are all of these programs available in the state or only for certain counties?
Would any of our speakers like to address that? I don't want to speak for anyone.
We personally don't have any specific counties. It's open to anyone.
Yeah, we're open to anyone. We do have early stage funding available in every West Virginia county, and through a partnership with Ohio universities, we've got, and Shawnee State, excuse me. We can serve a few counties across the rivers in Ohio and Kentucky too.
With 3 steps, there are some challenges in certain counties, but we'll be glad to support and offer assistance in any way that we can. But pretty much the majority of the state, the program is available.
And Bruce, I think the services of CART are also available statewide. Is that right?
All of the above. Yes.
Are there any other questions? And as I mentioned before, the SBDC works in some way in partnership with all of the organizations that have spoken here today. And I would reiterate something that I think it was Kyle who said before, that there is no wrong entry point, that an entrepreneur can enter the ecosystem at any point. And one of the joys of being in a small state is that the services will find you because we all know each other. And so we refer from one to the other to get you what you need when you need it. And as Mike Graney mentioned before, we also are working on sort of formalizing that process so that it's not all dependent on human beings interacting with each other, but we hope to get an online presence available to make it easier for entrepreneurs to find what they need when they need it, that they could do from the comfort of their own home.
Deborah, I want to thank you and this great panel, all of you who are working to support our entrepreneurs. Thank you for the work you do every day to support business growth in West Virginia and help our entrepreneurs. It's your all's work that ensures that anybody who has a great idea for the marketplace can help find the connected resources. And it is connections we're talking about. And Deborah's right. We're a small state. We know each other, and that can be a real strength for us in working in this area.